Okay, I'm back again. Sorry, I had to take the seatbelt off. This is my brother's car, and he's got this thing on his seatbelt. Anyway, so, what was I saying? So, you know how you will be having a conversation with somebody, and, okay. So, there's certain people, I'm not going to mention any names, Father! Certain people in the world that you have a conversation with, and at some point, they look at you, and they say, I already said that to you. Weren't you listening to me? I'm trying to think. What was it in particular? Oh, yeah. My father texted me, and he told me that he ran into my uncle at the hardware store. He and my father and my son went to the hardware store yesterday together. And he texted me and told me that they ran into the uncle. And the uncle had said that he had gotten some car rods. And so my dad said, well, you should give, my son a call. And that was it. That was the message. There was nothing else to it. And I was like, okay, well, that's great. Now, why are we saying this? And it's like, hello, your son's going to school to be a mechanic? Well, he's not actually in school yet, but he's getting ready to be. Okay, you didn't put that in there. You didn't say, and call him, because that would be a good learning experience for him. A little bit more information, right? Okay, that's not the greatest example, because that's by text message and it's a little different. It's just that's the example that reminded me of, this. And that is just where, you'll be having the conversation with people, and they will act like they've said something that they'll claim that they said something that they did not say. I just said that just 2 minutes ago, and you're like, no, you never did. Nope. Never heard a word one about that out of your mouth. Nope. And even somebody across the room is going, because they're not going to say it out loud. Oftentimes that person who says they said something is usually someone who gets upset. Sorry, my father. One of these days I'm going to be so sad when he's gone, because, oh my gosh. Anyway, oh, wow. I'm going to be so sad. He was my trusted parent. I told my mom already. I said, I'm going to be hurt when you're gone one of these days, but I don't want you to take this wrong, but when Dad's gone, it's going to break a part of me. I'm not just going to be hurt. There's going to be actually a broken part or something. She said, yeah, actually, I know that already. Because it's not someone you can easily get close to and all that stuff. It's a trusted parent, though, whether you get along or not. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. So, yes, now that cat's out of the bag, hope Dad never sees this video. I'm gonna hear about it. So, yeah, he's one of those people, and you have the conversation with him, and you're like, no, you never said that. And I'm thinking, so, you know how sometimes people's brains just get ahead of themselves, right? Their brain already thought it, and so they thought that they already communicated it. Okay, now remember how we talked just a few minutes ago, actually. I said the higher level of communication is speech. Okay, there's different levels to it, because I can communicate to you and tell you that I want a glass of water or a drink of water. I don't even have to say a glass of water, by just simply pointing at water. And if I point at it enough, you're going to get it. No, you want a bath? You want to give your cat a bath? What? Oh, you want a drink of water? Eventually you'll get it. But the idea is that it does work. It may not be the direct approach, in the sense that a person kind of has to guess why I'm pointing at water. Oh, yes, it is pretty. Yes. But it does work. And for the most part, most people would go with drink of water. Yeah, it's pretty. You want a drink? Okay, yeah. But but it is a form of communication. So is the sign language, charades, all that kind of stuff, right? That says I'm thirsty, I want to drink of water, right? So communication through speech is actually a higher, we'll say a higher level. And that's because, I say it's a higher level because it is more, how do I put this? Emotionally grounded, as opposed to just pointing at something. Just no communication. No words, nothing. That's more functional. Now, of course, even speech, communication-wise, or communication speech-wise, is also functional because it does, like I said, it does very directly say, I want a drink of water, as opposed to just pointing at water and someone kind of having to guess. There is a more direct approach, so it does become, I mean, it is functional. It is a need to communicate. And sometimes you can't actually show somebody something, so you have to kind of just say it, like over the phone. I wasn't ready to get into this part of the conversation yet, because communication, like house versus home, and anyway. So communication itself is functional, although you could get up and get your own drink of water. So then technically, even pointing becomes emotional because you don't need to actually do it to get a drink of water. See? You see how very base we're talking about when it comes to needs sometimes? If you can do something yourself, then you don't need anyone else. But by the same token, same thinking, if you don't need to do something because someone else is there, then why should you? If you're sitting there and a glass of water's over there, and someone else is sitting over there, why should you? Why can't you just point or say, water? Which is why you have some people in the world, by the way, that'll just say one-word answers. Because do they need to add all the extra stuff? It's pretty. It's nice to say, can you please get me that glass of water? Right? It's a lot of extra words, but it's nice to say it that way, isn't it? But it's not necessary. This is why some people are like that. They give you those one-word answers. It's either because they're more functional minded or because their brain is functionalizing at that time. Examples of that would be like situations where you're not really sure of what's going on. Even someone who's talkative like me can get quiet and only say one-word answers if I feel I'm being threatened in some way, or I'm not really sure of the situation going on. Sometimes when we're angry with someone and we're trying to just keep our cool, we're just like, yeah, no, okay. We are functionalizing. Anyway, yeah. Shouldn't have made a whole nother video for this because I messed it up anyway. Anyway, but the question was, I needed to come up with some different scenarios. I wanted to see if other people had some different scenarios to work with when it comes to those people that you talk to that say, oh yeah, I just said that a minute ago. Weren't you listening? Right, yeah. My dad's thing. It's like, oh gosh. No, you didn't. But their brain thinks they did. I have to wonder. Like I said, it's a constant back and forth between the functional and the emotional. And I'm not really sure how to explain this part, though, because without you actually really understanding how back and forth it is, like literally, like even as I'm going through this conversation, my brain, you every time you see me hesitate, every time you see me change directions, every time you see me stop, that is my brain saying, don't need to. Because do I really need to make this video? Do I know for a fact it's going to mean anything to anyone? It's going to help anyone in any way? I mean, seriously, what's the whole point? Someone sees the video and yeah, I watched it, but do they get anything from it? Do they actually learn something about their brain from it? No. Well, then what's the point of me making the video? That's a waste of time. Do I need to do it? No. So my brain the whole time is arguing with me and saying this is dumb. You don't even know for sure if your theory is proven, is right. So you're essentially maybe lying to people, saying this is how their brain works, and really it's not. So stop lying. So the whole time my brain is saying, this is the weird part, I need to say this information. I need to share this information, right? So emotionally share, need to share this information. So need, functional, share, emotional, information, functional, right? Okay, because in my mind, that information is a fact. But then the brain says, but then the brain is pulling back, okay, and saying, I don't need to share this information, because information, what if information is a lie? See how constant back, that pull, tug. Now, when I'm in a conversation with somebody, like the other day, I call her Miss Chewy, just because I don't know her name, but she works at that company, Chewy, and I had made an order, and I hadn't received it. It was my first order, and I had used a different name than my credit card had on it, so they're like, oh, there was a verification issue. Anyway, just happened to be talking to her, and I got into the conversation with her, and I mentioned I was getting a litter robot. As I said, anything to help with the depression. I have pretty bad depression, so anything to help with that. And she said, it's fine. I do too. And from there, bam, she started telling me things, and I said stuff right back. I didn't sit there and go, how do I explain it? Because there was a need. A person had asked me specifically, or not asked me, but had said something. It's a see a need, fill a need. Had said something specific to me that I could work with, that my brain could say, oh, I can answer that. Just to willy-nilly give you information? No. There has to be a specific request where my brain says, no. Do I need to? No. So it just pull, oh my gosh, if I could just really explain to people how this works. There's this constant back and forth pull. Next time you're having a conversation with someone and you have difficulty conversing with them, try and actually pay attention to what's happening in your brain. Try and see if you can feel it pulls back. You can feel it. If you really, really pay attention, you can actually feel it pulling you back, trying to stop you. At the same time as propelling you forward, like, no, I've got to say this. It's important. No, we don't. Yes, it. No, it's a fight sometimes. But that's just how the brain works. Because sometimes we just don't need to do something, and our functional side says, then we're not going to. But then the emotional side says, but what if, I say it this way, what if, I'm trying to think of different emotional reasons for something connecting, and I can't, because I can feel it in the back of my head. My, this is ridiculous. Why am I doing this? I can feel it in the back of my head. And by the way, as you can see, that's functional and emotional. They both pull back. And they both push forward, working forwards and backwards. Why should I? Why should I do this? I do need to explain the why should I still. But maybe in a different video. Because I don't think this video is really going to go anywhere. I think at this point I'm just kind of talking. Sometimes I do that because it's kind of like tricking the trickster. You wouldn't believe how many videos or how many conversations I have on my audio recorder, the little just voice recorder thing, where I'm just sitting there watching TV and making commentary on it. But nobody, it's not a problem. I'm not under focus. See, this camera's running. And so technically my brain is saying every second counts. Because I'm not one of those people who goes loud noises and eye popping and all that other stuff to keep people's attention. So unless you're saying something worthwhile, you're not keeping people's attention. It's very true. So constantly my brain, along with the pull, push, is also reminding me there's a camera on. And every second is counting. Every second. Every second and it reminds me that every second it's still counting. And not allowed having awkward silence, are we? Oh, gosh. I need to go brush my teeth. I ate my sandwich this morning, but I didn't brush my teeth. I had to rush out the door. It's really funny. I have to have 3 people at 3 different places in the same 15-20 minute away town. All this morning. I'm about to go in and get the next person. Make sure he's ready. He's a functionalist. I'm okay. It's okay. I'm allowed to talk about him, actually. Actually, I could have mentioned him earlier. He told me it's okay for me to talk about him. Isn't that funny? Our functional side is usually so guarded. But I think he knows I'm onto something. It's the other guy that wants to argue. Michael, I can't talk about him. I'm not allowed to. Oh, but I worry about him. I really messed up with him. I can't fix him, though. It's just like I can't fix myself. You know why people can't practice what they preach? They're too close. This'll try to. Oh my gosh. I still try to help him. But I know I can't. That's just like my brother. Well, it's a little different with my brother. That's why should I? You look at me and you say I should smile and go take a walk. You look at me and say I should go get on a dating service and find someone to get married to and have a family together. But why should I? So I'm going to explain the why should I. So it's basically the I don't need to, but it's the kind of the more emotional version. So it's actually able to be argued with. So like people who you've seen those commercials. I'm on mental health medication, like depression medicine, and I'm feeling better, but some days I still get stuck. So that's more like the why should I instead of the don't need to. That's why they can a little bit of work and they can argue with it and move on a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times. Yeah. But he's at the point where it's not that he doesn't need to. It's also, does he need to? I mean, he's got the why should I going on, also the one-shot clock, because he's older. He's not as old as me. But he's next in line. I have 6 brothers and 1 sister. Yeah, big family. But it's like at this point the brain feels like it's past. It's passed up those moments in life that you're supposed to have. You're supposed to find someone when you're younger, get married and have kids when you're younger, all that fun stuff. The what if I meet someone and we adopt an older child? Nope. Because first of all, you can't. What if something you can't see at all? See, if you don't have a prospect in mind, then how can you see that person in a what if scenario in your life. See, it's all about that what is sometimes. See, some people can just say, oh, an imaginary person, ooh, yay. But other people, seeing is believing. You want them to see a future with someone, you have to show them that someone. That's for starters. Can't see something that doesn't exist. And if you tell them, well, what if you just pretend it does? No. You're what ifing an imaginary thing and saying, let's just play pretend. I mean, that's all three. There's nothing functional there, people. It's not going to happen. No. So, and that's really where it's at right now for him. He doesn't have... According to the world, he has depression. I'm not saying he doesn't have depression, because we all do, but he doesn't, it's not what people think it is. Depression is not what people think it is. It's a confusion. And when we're confused, we stop. We don't... Someone says something that doesn't make sense to us, and we don't just keep moving on. We may not realize it. We may look like we keep moving on, but for a moment, you stop. You pause. Your brain pauses. No, not all functions, obviously, because your heartbeat and your breathing and all that, la, la, la. Although sometimes people go and hold their breath for a second. What did you say? But no, I don't mean it pauses the entire brain. Obviously not. There's clocks running. There's all kinds of stuff going. Yeah, doesn't pause the brain, but it does pause some part of you, some part of your brain, until you can one way or another make sense of it. Either you misheard, or the person that you're speaking to is a child and they don't really understand what they're saying anyway, and oh, okay, that fact that they're a child now makes it make sense, and now we can roll with it and move on. Or they're a foreign person and they don't understand the particular rules they're talking about or something, or how they're affected, whatever. The point is, once the brain has figured out why, and it uses whatever reasoning it has to, and sometimes the reasoning is just simply, is it really important for me to worry about it? Does it affect me? No. Then you move on. Who are you to me? You're nobody. Then it doesn't matter if you make sense or not. It's like school shootings. We see them on the news, and it hurts. It hurts to think that people would do that and all that other stuff, but you got plans that night to go out. Do you think you stopped them because of the school shooting? No. Well, maybe. Depends. That school shooting, does it actually directly affect you? Do you know somebody directly affected by it, that it actually directly affects you? Functionally speaking, it's in your circle of what you have to protect or whatnot? No? Then it's sad. But when you walk out of the room, your brain is already kind of moving on from it. Emotionally, it's a feeling goes away. Now, of course, 5 minutes later, you talking to somebody and you say, "Did you see the news?" And say, "Yeah, oh yeah." Then the emotional comes back, but it's fleeting. Emotion is a feeling, and feelings go away. They do. It's the facts, it's the memories, it's that holds on to it. Not the emotion is. The emotional side is changing. It's fleeting. It's roll with it. It's constantly like, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. Keep going. La 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 la. Which is why this side doesn't get stuck so much, or we'd get stuck on everything. In fact, one thing would not make sense to you, and without your emotional side, you'd just be stuck on that one thing that doesn't make sense to you, and you'd stay stuck, and you wouldn't be able to move on from it. But that's why we need both sides. gives us the ability to change things. Like change our mind. Change our situation. Be able to still go out that night, even though that school shooting happened. It's sad. And you'll probably go out and talk about it that night, maybe even when you're out, but you're still going out. And you might even cry a little over it because it is sad. But you're not actually affected by it directly. Now, of course, everybody has different levels of how it's going to affect them. But in the final analysis of it, if you're not actually connected to it, it's not going to affect you. Even somebody who's very empathetic, it's going to emotionally get to them, but it's not going to stay with them. Because really, to be that empathetic means you also have to have, if you're that emotional, then you also have to have the ability to roll with things. It's like a priest. You hear these confessions, your brain just forgets it. That's what, supposedly. I don't know. Shouldn't have said that part because I really don't know anything about that. I'm not a priest, nor have I ever been in training to do so. Anyway, I think I've rambled enough. I need to go check on my mom and make sure she's doing okay. Checked on her this morning. She took a bucket with her. It never fails. We always get sick at Christmas time. And I have to have surgery this year. Oh. Ah! All right. Bye.